Have you ever had that nagging feeling, that unsettling thought, that someone might be listening to you right now, even in the sacred safety of your own home? I promise you, it is not just an overactive imagination. For those of us in our golden years, the places we once trusted the most, like our living rooms and kitchens, have quietly become tools of surveillance. And the danger here isn't just about seeing a few annoying ads for something you happen to talk about. It's far more serious. This quiet invasion can cost you real, hard-earned money right out of your savings. It can expose your most private health secrets to strangers you will never meet. And worst of all, it can slowly, silently strip away your independence, piece by piece, without you ever even realizing what's happening until it's too late. As a privacy expert who has dedicated my career to helping seniors stay safe in this complicated digital world, I feel it is my absolute duty to bring this hidden nightmare into the light. That's why you need to hear this today. In this video, I'm going to reveal the 5 everyday places where you are being watched, tracked, and recorded, often without your knowledge or consent. I will share stories of good people, just like you, who have been affected. And once you know where the real eyes and ears are, you'll finally have the power to protect yourself. But please, listen closely all the way through to the end. Because the final place I'll reveal is the one that shocks even the most careful among us, as it strikes at the very heart of your private life. The information in that final section is something that could safeguard your dignity, your family, and your peace of mind. Before we dive in, please take a moment to hit the like button. It truly helps this important message reach other seniors who also need this protection. And tell me in the comments. I really want to know. Have you ever had a moment where you just knew a device was listening when you never, ever permitted it? Alright, let's begin with the first place where your privacy is quietly being invaded. We'll call this place number 1, your smart TV. Do you remember when televisions were simple? I certainly do. You turned a clunky knob, maybe went outside to adjust the big antenna on the roof, and that was it. The television was a one-way street. It brought pictures and sounds into your home, and nothing ever went out. It was a source of joy, of news, of family time spent together in the living room. It was safe. Today's smart TVs, however, are a completely different animal. They look sleek and beautiful, hanging on the wall like a piece of art. But behind that gorgeous, high-definition screen lies something you need to be aware of. They are no longer just televisions. They are powerful, sophisticated computers. And the most important part of that is their connection to the internet. That connection means they can just as easily send information out of your home as they can bring entertainment in. Now, at first glance, this might not seem alarming. What harm could it do if your TV knows you enjoy watching Jeopardy every evening, or that you have a fondness for old westerns? The problem isn't that it knows your favorite shows. The problem is what that information represents. Many modern TVs are quietly, persistently tracking every single thing you do. Every program you watch, how long you watch it for, whether you pause, rewind, or switch channels. Even the time of day you usually sit down in your favorite armchair. This seemingly harmless data builds a deeply personal profile of your life. Your habits, your routines, your interests. And this is where the danger becomes very real, especially for us as we get older. Your living room should be your sanctuary. It's where you have heartfelt phone calls with your children, where you might discuss sensitive health matters with your spouse, or where you might talk about your financial plans for the future. The core reason this is so concerning is that this technology transforms that sacred, private space into a data collection hub. Many smart TVs come with microphones and cameras built right in. They're meant for voice commands or video calls, but they don't always stay off when you believe they are. The chilling truth is that snippets of your private conversations, fragments of your life, can be recorded and stored, all without your knowledge. I remember a gentleman I spoke with, a grandfather named Arthur. He was a wonderful man who loved nothing more than watching old John Wayne movies in the evenings. His TV seemed completely harmless. But what he didn't realize was that its built-in microphone was active by default, straight out of the box. One night, while on a video call with his daughter, their conversation drifted to some minor financial worries he was having. Concerns about his retirement accounts. He didn't think twice about it, of course. He was in his own living room. Weeks later, Arthur started seeing unsettlingly specific advertisements popping up on his computer and phone. ads for high-risk investments and debt consolidation services. He felt a cold dread creep over him, realizing that his private, anxious conversation had somehow left the room. His home, his castle, was quietly listening. This is not a rare occurrence. Investigations by technology journalists have confirmed that this data is often sold to advertisers and data brokers you've never heard of. For seniors, this risk is particularly serious. The information gathered can be used to target you with not just ads, but sophisticated scams. So please, let's take back control. The solution is simple, and it won't cost you a dime. First, find your TV remote and go into the settings menu. Look for options related to privacy, voice control, or data collection. In there, you can and should disable any microphone and camera functions you do not actively use. If the TV asks if you want to share viewing data to improve your experience, the safest answer is always no. Second, for total peace of mind, cover the camera lens. A small piece of black electrical tape or a simple sliding webcam cover works perfectly. It's a foolproof, physical barrier. And third, make it a habit to avoid discussing deeply personal or financial details directly in front of the TV, unless you are certain those settings are secure. Your television should be a window to the world, not a window into your life. Place number 2, your smartphone apps. Now, let's talk about a device that's even closer to us than our television. One that rarely leaves our side. Our smartphone. For many of us, these little devices have become absolute lifelines, haven't they? They are how we see precious new photos of the grandchildren, how we check the weather before a walk, play a quick game of solitaire to keep the mind sharp, or even get those crucial reminders to take our medications on time. It truly feels like a tool that gives us more freedom, more connection, and more independence. But here is the uncomfortable truth we must face. Hidden behind many of those colorful little app icons is a silent trade-off. Most people never realize that when an app is free, it rarely is. You are often paying for it, not with money, but with small, invisible pieces of your privacy every single time you use it. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever downloaded a simple app for something harmless, like a flashlight, a magnifying glass, or a game of Sudoku? They seem innocent. Yet, when you first install them, they often ask for a bizarre list of permissions. Why on earth would a simple flashlight app need access to your microphone? Why would a puzzle game need to know your precise location every single hour of every single day? The answer, unfortunately, is quite simple. They aren't really free. Your personal information is the product. The core reason this is so dangerous for seniors is that our daily patterns and private conversations can be turned into weapons against us. These apps are designed to listen, to track, and to learn about you. They track what you say, what you type, and even where you go. This information is then fed into vast, automated advertising networks that build an incredibly detailed picture of your life, your habits, your health concerns, your financial situation. This goes far beyond a simple annoyance. This detailed profile makes you a prime target for highly convincing, personalized scams. I met a lovely woman once. Her name was Brenda, years old. She was sharp as a tack and loved playing puzzle games on her phone, telling me it was her way of keeping her memory strong. She downloaded a new, free word game that seemed delightful. What she didn't know was that this game was constantly accessing her phone's microphone in the background. One afternoon, she was on the phone with her neighbor, complaining about a leaky faucet in her kitchen. She mentioned feeling overwhelmed and worried about finding a trustworthy plumber who wouldn't overcharge her. Within hours, her phone began to light up. She saw aggressive pop-up ads for emergency plumbing services. Then, the phone calls started. One man on the line was particularly pushy, quoting her a price of nearly $500 for what sounded like a simple fix, clearly trying to capitalize on her sense of urgency. Brenda was shaken. She realized her private, worried conversation had been overheard, packaged up, and sold to people who now saw her as an easy target. Her trusted phone had betrayed her. So, let's stop this from happening. It's time to do a quick privacy checkup on your phone, and it is easier than you think. First, start with the apps you already have. Go into your phone's main settings and look for a section called Privacy or App Permissions. Here, you can review which apps have permission to use your microphone, your camera, your contacts, or your location. As you go down the list, ask yourself a simple question. Does this app really need this access to do its job? Does my weather app need my microphone? Does my solitaire game need my contact list? If the answer is no, turn it off. Second, a bit of digital spring cleaning goes a long way. Simply delete any apps you rarely, if ever, use. Every extra app is another potential doorway into your private life. Close the ones you don't need. Finally, whenever you download something new in the future, pause for just a moment before you tap Accept. Read the permissions it's asking for. If they don't make sense for what the app does, it's a major red flag. Simply choose another, safer app. Your smartphone should be your servant, not a spy in your pocket. Place number 3. Public security cameras. When you step outside your front door, what do you feel? For most of us, it's a sense of freedom. Fresh air, independence, the chance to go for a walk, run some errands, or meet a friend for lunch. But what you may not realize is that the world outside is now covered with more silent, watchful eyes than at any other time in human history. I'm talking about public security cameras. They are everywhere. Perched on top of traffic lights, hidden in the ceilings of grocery stores, mounted at the entrance to your bank, and even placed on street poles you walk past every day without a second glance. Now, most of us assume these cameras are there purely to keep us safe, to deter crime. And that is certainly part of their purpose. But the story, I'm afraid, does not end there. You see, the surveillance technology of today is worlds away from the grainy, black and white video cameras of the past. Many of the cameras you see now are high definition and are linked to powerful, sophisticated computer systems. These systems don't just watch, they recognize. They are equipped with facial recognition technology that can identify your face, connect it to vast databases of information, and even track your movements across different locations throughout your day. This means you could be recognized at the pharmacy, logged at the gas station, and identified again when you walk into your doctor's office, all creating a digital trail of your day without you ever being told it happened. The fundamental reason this is a concern for our generation is that it represents a profound loss of anonymity and personal space. The freedom to simply go about your day without being cataloged and analyzed is a form of privacy that we are rapidly losing. This isn't about catching criminals. It's about private companies and marketing agencies gathering data on your daily routines for profit. They want to know which stores you visit, how long you stay, and what you buy. Let me share a quick story about a man I know named Frank, a 76-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. He was quite surprised when he started receiving very specific coupons in the mail for a small coffee shop he had only visited once, just the week before. He was a curious fellow, so the next time he went in, he politely asked the young manager how they knew he was a customer. The answer was unsettling. The store, he was told, had recently partnered with a marketing system that used its security cameras to scan customers' faces as they entered. Even though Frank never signed up for any loyalty program or gave them his name, his visit was recorded, his face was logged, and it was matched with commercially available marketing data to get his home address. He hadn't done anything wrong, but his simple act of buying a cup of coffee was recorded and monetized. He felt, in his words, like a specimen in a jar. This is the new reality we all face. Surveillance no longer asks for your permission. For older adults, who may already feel their sense of independence shrinking, the idea of being constantly monitored during simple daily routines can feel incredibly invasive. Now, we can't get rid of all the cameras, but we can protect ourselves with awareness. So, here is your simple, practical plan. First, just be aware. Start noticing where the cameras are. The more you know about where they are, the less likely you are to be caught off guard. Awareness itself is a powerful tool. Second, because many of these cameras can also record high-quality audio, avoid having sensitive conversations in public spaces. Don't read a credit card number over the phone while waiting in line at the post office, for example. Step somewhere more private. And third, when you have a choice, try to give your business to stores or service providers that are transparent about how they use their security systems. You don't need to live in fear of every lens, but you absolutely should understand the world you are walking into. Place number 4, Home Assistant Devices. For this next one, we're coming back inside the home to a device that, for many seniors, has become more than just a gadget. It has become a companion. I'm talking about smart home assistants, like Amazon's Alexa, Google Home, or even the Siri function on an Apple device. On the surface, they feel like magic, don't they? They make life easier, especially when mobility or eyesight becomes a challenge. You can ask them for the weather, set a reminder to take your pills, play your favorite music from the 1950s, or even call a loved one, all without having to lift a finger or fumble with a small screen. Finally, it seems technology is working for us, instead of making things more complicated. But now, I must share the uncomfortable truth that lies at the heart of how these devices work. To respond to your commands, these devices must be always listening. The companies that make them reassure us that the assistants only wake up and start recording when you say their special trigger word, like Alexa or Hey Google. But numerous reports and independent studies have shown something quite different. These devices often misinterpret sounds from the television or other conversations, causing them to wake up and record at the wrong times. They can and do record snippets of conversations that were never meant for them. Even more troubling is what happens to those recordings. They are often sent over the internet and stored in massive corporate databases. And here is a fact that many people find deeply disturbing. Human employees at these companies sometimes listen to a selection of these short audio clips. They say it's for quality control and to improve the system. But what it really means is that a total stranger, somewhere in an office building, may be hearing the private, personal, and sensitive conversations happening within the four walls of your home. The core issue here is the violation of what should be our most sacred space. Your home is your sanctuary, the one place on earth where you should feel completely free to speak your mind, share your worries, and live your life without being monitored. These devices, helpful as they may be, place a permanent eavesdropper in your kitchen or your bedroom. Think of my friend, Margaret, a 72-year-old widow who truly relied on her assistant to help manage her daily routine. She loved asking it to play hymns in the morning and remind her about her various medications. It gave her a sense of control. But one evening, she was on the phone with her pharmacy, paying for a prescription refill. She read her credit card number aloud, including the expiration date and the security code, not even thinking twice about the little smart speaker sitting on the counter nearby. A few weeks later, she began receiving a series of strange and suspicious phone calls from people claiming to be from Senior Investment Services, offering her financial products she had never expressed interest in. She could never prove the two events were connected, but she told me she could never shake the sickening feeling that her trusted little helper had betrayed her. So, here is how you reclaim your sanctuary. Start by going into the app for your device on your smartphone or tablet. Dive into the settings and find the privacy section. You will find an option to stop saving your voice recordings. Activate it. You should also find a way to delete your entire stored audio history. Do it. Next, and this is a simple physical step, get into the habit of turning off the microphone when you aren't actively using the device. Most of them have a physical button on top with a microphone icon. When you press it, a red light usually comes on, indicating the microphone is off and it is physically disconnected. It cannot listen. And finally, consider where you place these assistants. Keep them away from areas where the most sensitive conversations happen, like right next to your telephone or in your bedroom. Convenience is a wonderful thing, but it should never, ever come at the price of your privacy at home. Place number 5. Your everyday online searches. We have now arrived at our 5th and final place. And in many ways, this is the most personal and the most insidious invasion of privacy of all. It happens in a place where most of us, especially seniors, feel completely and totally safe. A place where we believe we are alone with our thoughts, our worries, and our curiosities. I am talking about the search bar on your computer or tablet. Think about it. When you sit down at your computer and type a question into Google or another search engine, it feels private, doesn't it? It feels almost like whispering a secret thought into the empty air of the room. You might be asking about a new ache in your joints, looking up an old friend you've lost touch with, or trying to understand a complicated financial document. These are your private concerns. But the truth is far more unsettling. Your online searches are among the most heavily monitored, recorded, and analyzed actions you take in your entire day. They are not private whispers. They are public announcements shouted into a global marketplace. Every single time you type something, anything, into that search bar, whether it's best vitamins for seniors over 70 or early warning signs of arthritis, or cheap flights to Florida to see the grandkids, that search is immediately logged. It is stored, and it is linked directly to you. It connects to your computer's unique IP address, your device, and very often, your personal identity through your online accounts. What feels like a private, fleeting question is actually a permanent entry in a digital diary about you. A diary that never disappears, and one that you do not control. The core reason this is so profoundly dangerous is that your searches reveal your innermost vulnerabilities. Search engines don't just save the words you type. Their powerful systems analyze how you search. They track how long you pause before clicking on a link, which result you choose, how far down the page you scroll, and when you return to try a different question. These tiny, subconscious actions, when pieced together, create an astonishingly accurate portrait of your thoughts. Are you feeling anxious? Are you worried about money? Are you comparing different medical treatments? The algorithms know. For seniors, this opens a terribly dangerous door. Your most sensitive searches about your health, your finances, or even end-of-life concerns can trigger a wave of aggressive, predatory marketing. Unscrupulous companies purchase this very data specifically to target older adults with fraudulent offers that are tailor-made to exploit your fears. In other words, your most private questions can become the very bait that scammers use against you. I will never forget the story of David, a 78-year-old gentleman who was becoming increasingly worried about some minor memory lapses he'd been experiencing. It was something he was too proud to discuss with his children yet. So, late one night, when he was alone, he went to his computer and searched for best supplements for memory loss. It was a moment of private vulnerability. Within days, his digital world changed. His computer screen filled up with relentless ads for fantastically expensive pills, so-called miracle cures from questionable clinics, and even special cognitive testing offers that required his credit card up front. None of this reached him by accident. His private, worried search had been tracked, stored, and sold to companies eager to profit from his deepest, most personal fear. He believed he was confiding in his computer. In reality, he was confiding in a marketplace of predators. So, let's learn how to guard this digital diary more carefully. You have options. First, and most importantly, start by recognizing that a standard search bar is not a private journal. Think of it as a public bulletin board. Second, for your most sensitive searches, consider using a search engine that prioritizes privacy, like DuckDuckGo. They have built their entire business on the promise that they do not track your search history for profit. Third, get into the habit of regularly clearing your browsing history and cookies in your web browser settings. This helps to erase some of the digital footprints you leave behind. And finally, avoid typing extremely sensitive questions on shared or public computers, like those at a library, where trackers are much harder to control. Your questions, your worries, and your curiosity belong to you and you alone. Please, do not give them away so easily. As we reach the end of our journey together today, we have walked through 5 places where your privacy is most at risk. Your television, your smartphone apps, the cameras in public, your home assistants, and even the search bar you trust with your deepest questions. Each one feels so ordinary, just a normal part of daily life. But as we've seen through the stories of people like Arthur, Brenda, and David, each one can quietly collect the details of who you are, what you value, and even what you fear. That reality, I know, may feel overwhelming. It can feel like the walls are closing in. But I want you to hear this next part very, very clearly. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of technology. The simple fact that you have watched this far proves that you have the strength and the wisdom to take control. Awareness is the first and most powerful defense. Every single time you adjust a setting on your TV, every time you turn off a microphone, every time you delete an unnecessary app or choose a safer way to search, you are taking back a piece of your independence. These small, seemingly insignificant choices add up to powerful, meaningful protection. Because for us, for our generation, privacy is not just about data. It is about something much deeper. It's about dignity. It is about trust. And it is about freedom. When a company or a stranger takes your information without asking, they are not only invading your digital life, they are stepping uninvited into the private spaces of your heart and your home. And you deserve better than that. So now, as we wrap up, I have one important question for you. Knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself after watching this video? It could be as simple as, tonight, I will check my TV settings. Or perhaps, tomorrow, I will delete 3 old apps from my phone. Please, share your personal commitment in the comments below. Reading your commitments not only encourages me, but it also inspires others in our community to see that they are not alone in taking that first brave step. And if you found real value and a sense of empowerment in our time together, please show your support by giving this video a like. To ensure you continue on this journey with us, and never miss another video full of advice to help you stay safe and strong, hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community of friends dedicated to living our best, most secure lives together. Finally, think of one person, a friend, a sibling, or one of your own children, who needs to hear this message today, and please share it with them. You might just protect them from a world of trouble. Thank you for your time and your trust. Remember, your privacy is always worth protecting.